This is Crystal with Whole New Perspective. Guys, I want to talk about 5 areas that we need to be prepared in. But before I do that, I want to thank you for watching my videos. I want to thank you for subscribing to my channel. And I want to thank you for giving my videos the thumbs up. Now, my videos aren't that long. And so what I would like to ask you to do is to just please come on in and watch my videos to the very end. Yes, you may find some things or hear some things throughout the video that will be of use to you. I'm not going to go into much detail as I go through these 5 areas of preparedness, but I will come back and go through it because every area has numerous levels to them. And so I want to take the time to go through those areas, and I'll do that later. Before I begin to prep, one of the things that I like to do is pray. And that's how I start my day out, as a matter of fact. I'm praying. So as you begin to prep, one of the things to do, one of the things that I do is pray for guidance. I'm going to pray for guidance, and I'm also going to pray for protection. So when I saw this shirt, this is Lead Former 73 shirt, LF73. You can get this on his site. I just had to have this shirt because to me, it's just so important to pray as I prep. So one of the things that I will be prepping, and one of the things that's very important to prep, is water. And we know this. We hear it all the time. And how much water should you have? Well, at least 2 gallons of water per person per day for at least 7 days. Now that could be a tremendous amount of water. And not many of us have the space to have that water or to store that water. So what are some other things that you can do? You know, it's going to be important to have some type of water filtration system, whether it's the Berkey, I have a Berkey back here, whether it's that, or whether it's just the various life straws and the things like that. You can have tablets, some type of purification tablets, have that, pool shock. There's so many other ways. You also may need some type of rain catchment system. And again, that's one of the reasons that we're going to need filters and a water filtration system. And Clorox, you may have Clorox, but if you have Clorox, just know that it has a shelf life, a pretty short shelf life, as a matter of fact. So just look into that as well. And it's also important to know where the creeks, the lakes, the streams, and those sorts of things are in your area. And I will talk about water again. I do have a video out where I talk about water preparedness, but I may do an updated video to add some other things in because water is of utmost importance. One of the other areas to prepare is food. And we are hearing about that every day. Every day. We're hearing about shortages. We're hearing about food shortages, labor shortages, all sorts of shortages. But there are many things that you can do to prepare, and it's not too late. It's important, or will be important, to grow some of your own food. So start a garden. It doesn't have to be a big garden. It can be containers. So look into growing a garden. Make sure that you have everything that you need to grow the garden. Look into preservation. How are you going to preserve food? Start looking into that. Get what you need for that. Your canners, your jars, your lids. Now's the time to do that because most people aren't thinking about canning right now. They're thinking about the winter weather, the winter storms if they're in those areas. So now is the time to prepare and get those things. There are lids in abundance at least in my stores. So go ahead and get those things. We know how difficult it was to find that last year. Foraging. Learn how to forage. Look for those wild edibles. You know, that's one of the things that my husband and I did recently was walk throughout our woods. And I was just noticing what was around. A lot of things have died back. And for me, that's the best time to get out in the woods because we have all sorts of animals, snakes, and things in the woods during the summer. But the springtime will be another good time to get out and start to identify more things. So foraging and looking for wild edibles is a good option. Hunting, fishing. Do you have what you need to hunt or fish? Get your supplies together because you may need to hunt or fish if it comes down to it. Do you know where to fish? Do you have those areas? And let's not forget commercially canned foods. Sometimes when we're used to growing our own foods, we don't think about getting the canned foods. But those commercially canned foods will last a long time. And it may not be what you're used to eating, but it will certainly be something that will come in handy. A very large area to prepare in is your shelter, your home, wherever you live. And that is broken down into so many categories. Things like home maintenance, power outages, lighting, heating, cooling, those sorts of things come with the power outages. Home security. Do you have what you need to secure your home? Protection. Drones. So you have the tools that you need for maintenance, for plumbing, fire safety. So there are so many subtopics, and I do want to take some time later on to discuss and go into further detail. This is really just some things or an opportunity to get you to think about these areas that we need to be preparing in. Another area is health and fitness. Now that's a big area. We're talking about your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health. Do you need prescription medications, vitamins, those sorts of things? Do you have alternatives to those prescriptions? Do you have natural remedies, essential oils, all of those things that you may need? Are you exercising? You know, that's one of the things that I slacked up on in 2021. In 2020, that was a major focus for me, and I did great. 2021, not so great. And so for me, I am going to really focus on health and wellness in 2022. Now, I have been under the weather for some time. This time of year is always very busy for me with my profession, and sometimes my immune system can take a beating. But I tell you, when I was under the weather, I had everything that I needed. And so I really felt good about that. I was able to even eat my canned soups with my bone broth. So that's another thing. If you do have someone that's sick, do you have what you need? Make sure that you have those things, prescriptions. That's one of the things that I try to stay ahead of are my prescriptions. And there is a way to do that, and we can talk about that later. And then there are a lot of natural antibiotics that are out there. And so that would require some research. So health and wellness, a big topic. The last area that I'd like to cover, it's skills and knowledge. Do you know how to fix your car? Can you make home repairs? You know, plumbing, electrical, those sorts of repairs. Can you do that? Now, can you sew? Basic first aid. Do you know CPR? So there are lots of DIY books out there. So now is the time to gather information to be able to gain the skills that you need. And a lot of times these skills are free to learn. You can gain this knowledge free. So you just have to do a little research, which is part of skills and knowledge. Do some research and you can learn how to do most anything. Now I know these things may seem overwhelming, but that's why it's important to just start writing a list. Just brainstorm, write down everything that you want, things that you need, things that may seem far-fetched. Just write it down. Start writing, and then after you get everything written down, just start making some categories. You may find that you have a lot of things, and then you may not. But just prioritize things for you and your family and for your family budget. Prioritize those things. What's most important for you and your family to have? Is it medications? Then that's where you would start. Do you need more water? Then that's where you would start. So just come along with me as I start to break down some of these areas of prepping. And again, I want to thank you for staying with me throughout this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and we will take this prepping journey together.